This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather Ho, there's Jeff Cutter diving. Welcome to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. The birthday boy for today, June the 13th, isn't here, like, it's not among us right now, but, I try to do my best to do, of birthdays of people who are alive, but I couldn't find anyone on June 13th other than this guy. And this guy, to me, you'll see there's a little bit of a bias towards this guy, but it's got to be it. Yes, he's a former Toronto Blue Jays radio announcer who was actually the main play-by-play guy from 1977 to 2004. Can you imagine that? For the first 27 years of existence for the Blue Jays, he was the radio play-by-play voice. He had a consecutive game streak of over 4,300 regular season games, which is unbelievable. That was inducted to the Blue Jays Level of Excellence in 2004 and just is a Blue Jays icon. I mean, no disrespect to Dan Shulman or Buck Martinez or even Brian Williams, but this guy was Blue Jays broadcasting personified. His name was Tom Cheek. He was born and raised in Pensacola. He was born June 13th, 1939. So in Pensacola. At age 14, he was given his first tape recorder, and he would practically be a broadcaster for the neighborhood and all that. His father, Tom Sr., was a U.S. Navy aviator in World War II and won the Navy Cross based on his work at the Battle of Midway. So anyway, and a lot of this stuff I will be, like his earlier days, I will talk about you thinking, well, how do you know this information? Well, I still have to this day Tom Cheek's book on the Blue Jays from 1977 to 1992. Well, it was semi-autobiographical. Gives his early story of how he became the voice of the Blue Jays and all that. And the book is up to 1992 and does not include, the 1993 call. Regardless of that, Tom Cheek loved doing broadcasting and all that. And then for 3 years, he actually served in the U.S. Air Force and went to Morocco as a teletype operator as an airman third class. Unfortunately, though, he actually was in Morocco at the same time as I can't remember, Agora, I can't remember the Moroccan city in 1959 that had a massive earthquake. And basically, you could see right through over the rebel. And then the Moroccan royal family said that they would drop lime all over the city and rebuild it, even though that there were some bodies probably still there and all that. And Tom Cheek did not have to deal with the earthquake people because he was on a night shift, so he was given an excuse to sleep. He actually, while as member of the Air Force, met Red Barber, who was a famous Yankees broadcaster, and talked to him about that. Tom Cheek was trying to talk to Red Barber one time about something to do with the 1947 play of Aljon Friedel's catch of a Joe DiMaggio play in Game 6 and all that, but failed to do so. He was given a discharge in 1960 and attended the Cambridge School of Broadcasting in Boston for 2 years. He would go to Plattsburgh, New York as a disc jockey in 1962, moving to Burlington, Vermont, working for WDOT and was corporate sales manager and sports director. There were a lot of problems. All that. Yeah, he was a disc jockey, which was funny. So he would be a sports director, and then new management basically booted him out, saying we wanted big band sound, not rock and roll. So he moved to sportscasting at WJoy, where he would do baseball, basketball, football, and hockey, the four major sports food groups, if you will, for the University of Vermont. He was close to being the first broadcaster for the Atlanta Hawks of the NBA. Well, when the Hawks moved from St. Louis to Atlanta, but Skip Carey was chosen instead, which was ironic because Skip Carey, did Atlanta Braves broadcast and all that, and he was the voice of the Braves in '92 whereas Tom Cheek was voice of the Blue Jays, and those two teams met in the World Series. Montreal were looking for an announcer to complement their play-by-play man, Dave Van Horn. And it was weird how Burlington, close to Boston in a sense, was warming up to the new expansion team. After all, it was only 100 miles from Montreal. So when the Expos used a guest announcer format to say on things with Dave Van Horn when he did TV work, Tom Cheek got his experience with Major League Baseball, filling in for 3 years occasionally. Anyway, Cheek was given a chance to be the new radio voice of the Blue Jays in 1977, and he did. He got the job and impressed everyone. All that. His first broadcast partner in the booth was Early Wynn, who was a Hall of Fame pitcher for many years. They were together for the first 4 years of their career. Tom Cheek in the book talked about how glorious it was to work with Early Wynn and, his sovereign sayings and all that. And how Tom Cheek relayed messages that he actually he almost missed games because of his voice croaking out on him. And he had to have a hypodermic needle, The Blue Jays didn't really feel that comfortable with Early Wynn, so they let him go after the end of the 1980 season. In 1981, Jerry Hallworth, who wrote a book of his own, joined the Blue Jays, and he was a Vin Scully sound-alike. That's what people said. But yeah, it was weird. The Tom and Jerry show, if you will, were the radio voices of the Blue Jays from 1981 to 2004. It was amazing. Covering the team's rise through the 1980s up to 2004. Tom Cheek relayed almost every season in Blue Jays history up to that point from 77 to 92 and gave some anecdotes about himself and said that he nearly croaked out on the 1985 radio call when the Blue Jays finally won the AL East. But regardless of that, it was amazing. And, Hallworth could do play-by-play too. So Cheek would actually switch up with Hallworth to do play-by-play and all that. It was just amazing what they could do and all that. Of course, there was a third man in the booth in 2001 by the name of Gary Matthews Sr. and all that. Cheek's Blue Jays broadcast originated from Toronto's The Fan 1430, CKFH, because the call letters were FH for Foster Hewitt, who founded the network and all that. And then 1050 Chum for a brief period had it. And then the Fan radio network, after Rogers bought the Blue Jays, make it the Fan 590, would do the broadcast and all that. So Tom Cheek did a lot of famous calls and all that. People know about the whole thing with the Blue Jays, but did you know that Tom Cheek was doing radio work in 1989 when he did the radio call of the 1989 World Series back to Canada alongside Jerry Hallworth and someone else. I can't remember who it was, but Cheek was in the booth when that famous Loma Prieta earthquake hit in 1989, and it was amazing. Like he relayed the messages and was telling these stories about his experiences in the San Francisco area during the earthquake, and of course transit being grounded because of the loss of power, and they had to be on buses in shady areas, and there barely were any lights and all that. So regardless of that, he did a lot of things, that for his broadcasting and all that. He would call many memorable moments of Blue Jays history, the early days, the final plays of the 92-93 World Series. Actually, what happened was there was a rotational thing to do with Cheek and Hallworth. And Hallworth was supposed to call the 11th inning of the game 6 for the Blue Jays Braves, but no, he called Dave Winfield's double that gave the Blue Jays a 4-2 lead, and then he passed it off to Cheek, saying that he should commentate on what potentially would be the final 3 outs for the Blue Jays' first ever franchise title in baseball, which Cheek did all that. I forget what Cheek's radio call was. It wasn't really that much, but anyway, he called the 93 World Series on the radio, obviously, and of course, we can't forget that famous call. The famous memo. Okay, well, I found out the memorable call in 1992. He says, Timlin to the belt, pitch on the way. And there's a bunted ball, first base side. Timlin to Carter, and the Blue Jays win it. The Blue Jays win it. The Blue Jays are World Series champions. And thankfully, though, we remember his famous call October 1993 in Game 6. Joe has had his moments trying to lay off that ball low to the outside part of the plate. He just went after one. 2 balls and 2 strikes on him. Here's the pitch on the way. A swing and a belt. Left field, way back. Blue Jays win it. The Blue Jays are World Series champions. As Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch a ball, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life. That was the call and all that. So it was just amazing and all that. So Cheek had announced every Blue Jays game from April 7th, 1977, the first ever game, to June 2004, where he had to take time off because of the death of his father. So his 4,306 regular season games thing was recognized on the Blue Jays level of excellence. And if you're watching the picture, if you're watching this live and see the picture, you know about it. So in August 2004, they raised a banner bearing his name and that 4306. All that. Stranger as it sounds, there was bad news. A week after his consecutive streak ended, he had to go through surgery to remove a brain tumor. Following the surgery, Cheek was able to call Blue Jays home games while undergoing chemotherapy, but was replaced on the road by various gas announcers. And they thought that Cheek would be fine and would resume calling Blue Jay games in 2005. Unfortunately, the cancer returned and all that. Cheek's final broadcast appearance was the opening day game for the Blue Jays in Tampa in 2005. But unfortunately for him, that was the only inning he did in 2005, and that was his final broadcast appearance. Hallworth could do the play-by-play, could carry the play-by-play. And it was paired up with Warren Sekra. And all that. Cheek would die October 9th, 2005 at the age of 66 in Oldsmar, Florida, where he grew up. Cheek married his wife in 1959, who was actually born across the border from Cheek in Hemingford, Quebec, while Cheek was born in Vermont. They had 3 children, Jeff, Lisa, and Tom. Jeff was a pitcher in the Blue Jays organization for 3 years, but never got to the big things and all that. Anyway, the Canada Sports Hall of Fame did say that they would have the Tom Cheek Media Leadership Award for playing a key role in promoting Canadian sports. Cheek was the first recipient, obviously. In 2006, the Blue Jays would wear a patch with TC and the radio microphone in black on their uniform sleeves in honor of Cheek. Cheek would have many different chances to get into the Hall of Fame and win the Fort Frick Award, which was awarded by the Hall of Fame and automatically gets you to the Hall of Fame. Fortunately, though, in 2012, he was given the award. So in 2013, he was inducted to the Baseball Hall of Fame, which was great for Canadian baseball and all that. And of course, the bibliography, the book I reference is Road to Glory, an insider's look at 16 years of Blue Jays baseball, written before the 1993 season. I don't think they projected the Jays to win back-to-back World Series and all that. They did have the epilogue about the offseason in 92 that the Blue Jays lost so many players and then they picked up people in 93. But yeah, give that book a listen. You'll never regret it. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond Ado.